Hello, and welcome to the Stonery. I am back. I'm here to continue to talk about cannabis. I have gone back and listened to the episodes that I put out last year, and they kind of suck. But you guys still rated me 5 stars anyways, so I'm going to put out more episodes. This is episode 7 according to this sheet, and I think I just made an episode 21. So I have plenty of things to talk about right now. I'm very much loving distracting myself with talking about, thinking about, and just smoking weed. So I'm here to talk about the stonery and to get this shit back and rolling. I really feel like the Asheville cannabis market is starting to grow to a point where I might be able to break in as just some dumb idiot who wants to talk about cannabis. I just got invited to a cannabis Facebook group for Asheville. I went on a cannabis tour of Asheville, which was amazing, and yeah, that will be an episode because you guys need to go on this cannabis tour. It, before I gush about it too much, if you look up Stu Helm Food Fan, he does the Asheville food tours, and he has just started a cannabis tour. If you are in the area, go do this thing. Oh my god, it was so much fun. But I have surrounded myself with people who want to talk about cannabis and people who are just inspiring me to come back to this and just put it at the top of my list and give it my all. We just went through Hurricane Helene as a area, and I can't start this podcast without mentioning that my priorities really shifted after that. I really just need this outlet to talk about something I'm so passionate about. Cannabis is what keeps me going, especially in times like these where you didn't know what to expect. I'm going to be dropping an episode every other week, I think is the plan, so I don't get too overwhelmed, but I may get overwhelmed with episodes and need to drop them more frequently. So we'll see. We'll do every other week for now, and then I want to have a backlog to give me time to record. That was stressing me out too, trying to keep up. So, this week we are talking about a cart I picked up in Brevard on my way home from work. Not really. I kind of went out of my way to go to this place, but it was a consumption lounge. I didn't consume while I was there, but it was really cute. I purchased this cart from them and some dumb lighters, which I think are the best thing in the world. They're MK lighters and they're reusable and they have the cutest patterns on them, and I keep buying them everywhere I go. This is the Habit Cartel Glue Indica Potency Pod. Nope. This is the Habit Cartel Glue Indica Potency Cart. Now, this is their potency line. It's supposed to be stronger, and it is, I think, strictly Delta 9 THC, is what I could tell. I was struggling when I was looking up Habit Cartel Glue in terms of who owns them, and either way, this was a 1 gram 510 thread cartridge, which screws onto a little battery that most people have by now. I have the Yukon Uni Pro, which I've talked about, and I think that episode's okay. I'm gonna have to listen to it again and see if I need to redo that one. But I have the Yukon Uni Pro, and then I have the Luca Bear, I think it's what it's called. It's Luca brand, and it looks like a little bear, and it's silicone, and it's adorable. I usually put my hot knife on it, quite honestly, because I have a 510 thread hot knife, which I will talk about later. And I really enjoy putting the hot knife on the bear and then using that for dabs. So it's pretty fun. Now, this packaging was blue, which I love because I feel like it goes with indica versus I feel like a yellow or orange or brighter colors would go with kind of a sativa. And I like how Cherokee, they do green for their hybrid pre-rolled joint tubes. They have custom joint tubes. They're awesome. I love Cherokee. It was such a fun trip. Okay, so I'm looking at Habit's website, and they don't. I'm not seeing the cart that I bought on here. So maybe it's something they're phasing out. You shop by category: Delta 8 CBD, CBD blends, D8 blends, Delta 9 THC, D9 blends, CBN blends. Now this is, it says THCA indica on the packaging, okay? So now I go and I click THCA, and the only thing that pops up are pre-rolls and flour. They don't have a option for, option for the carts. So maybe they don't sell them anymore, which is probably for the best, my friends. And we'll get to that later, but basically this guy broke on me. I have recently started hanging out with this friend who is just as enthusiastic about weed as I am, if not maybe a little more. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty enthusiastic about weed, but they go hard. They are honestly the person keeping me sane locally right now. I have online and local people doing that, but I really enjoy spending time with them and having them over and hanging out with them. They took the cannabis tour with me, and they've worked at dispensaries, so their knowledge on the product that we actually get in North Carolina is extensive. They've been trained on this in a store. Look, in several stores, actually. Oh, I don't know how many. I'm gonna have to ask them how many. They've worked at a ton of places around. I probably could count them on at least one hand, if not two. But I wanted to talk with them based off of what I researched and what I've seen and what their experience is on Delta 9 and THCA and all of that. So I will cut to a little chunk about this conversation that I had with my friend Vincent. Hello, everyone. This is Future Jillian. I would like to give you guys a little heads up. The audio of me and Vincent is a little bit different than the audio I recorded throughout the episode. Sometimes we're yelling, sometimes we're not. We were hanging out and having a good time and smoking, so I apologize and skip this part if that's something that bothers you. So I decided after this, I've researched Delta 9. Huh? Oh, you blinker. Um. So are you ready now?
Yeah.
You want to talk about weed?
Yeah.
What we came here to do? Is your microphone anywhere near your mouth?
No. Now it is.
Alright, can we keep it there? We can try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. So, I wrote these down based off of my knowledge, and I want you to correct me based off of how you understand it, and then the listener can write us and tell us what we said wrong. How do you feel about that?
Fuck yeah, I want to learn.
So, I wanted to talk about Delta 9, THC, and THCA.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about them in that order.
Yeah.
And Vincent's going to help me with that.
Fuck yeah.
So, basically, Delta 9 and THC are the same. Delta 9 is like the third question mark attempt. North Carolina's at least third attempt, right? Because they went Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 9. Or
it was...
I kind of moved here in the middle of all of that.
What year did you move here?
End of 22. Was not that long, 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So no.
So it was like in the middle of the Delta 9. Like Delta 9 was there.
Yeah,
but
they were
I
just
felt like
discovering
Delta 9
recently how to like
put it into gummies, and they were just starting to take advantage of the loophole specifically for Delta 9.
Yeah.
So basically, we've moved on, of course, to THCA as a
country, I'd
state.
say.
Well, no, because half of the country has legal THC, so that half of the country isn't really touching THCA.
But it is technically the same in some states.
Correct, but
it's so interesting.
It's weird. It's weird. So Delta 9, from what I can tell, is THC that's extracted from a hemp plant. And hemp is basically the same thing as marijuana. It's just a plant with a lower quantity of THC in it by the weight.
Yes.
Correct?
I would say so. I would just say hemp and marijuana are both bad terms.
I know, but what else do I have to use?
Cannabis.
I know, but
Cannabis is the same plant.
I'm trying to. Okay, fair. Yes, and from now on.
Yeah.
But I also need a way to have people understand what we're saying.
You're right.
And I think hemp and marijuana, unfortunately, as shitty as they are not.
Yeah.
Are gonna get the point across. But is there do you know of a better term?
I would just honestly call it like hemp versus weed. I know that marijuana has a lot of negative connotations.
Fair.
Yeah. I'm so high.
That's so fair.
Okay, what's next?
THC. This is basically the cannabinoid that gets you high the most in the plant. You know, like it's what is illegal in 20. I think it's 24 or 23 states now. More than half of the country is legalized at this point, as far as I'm aware, which is awesome. But what the fuck?
Also
the other half?
insane. Why aren't we all doing it yet?
Lobbying is my opinion, but
No, you're right. What was that vape you had me have earlier, by the way?
This one is the hillbilly
like indica or
hillbilly health. It's an indica. It's called churro.
I can barely keep my eyes the fuck open. Like that makes so much sense.
Oh my god. Okay, we need to get through this.
Yeah.
THC. But THC is what I was buying in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It is what most people think of when they think of what gets you high.
Which side is wrong?
Which every state is so different with their rules and regulations. But it seems most states you can go there as an adult and while you're in the state purchase as much weed as legally allowed for a normal resident.
Sorry.
Back on topic.
You're right.
So THCA is our newest loophole.
Yes.
It is our favorite loophole.
Yes.
It's
just weed. It's baby weed.
Straight up weed.
Yeah.
Baby weed. It's also naturally occurring in the plant.
Yeah.
Like when it's fully grown. Like it's not just a baby weed.
That's
like some of the hemp is just THCA.
That's
like,
what I mean.
One of the strains of the year that Leafly picked one year, I think it was called Jealousy. That was a THCA strain. And that one was really on my way home from work one day. And that one was really good. I was like, AJ, I did not know North Carolina weed could fuck me up like this.
Yeah, it's fucking
so good. That was so good. And it was Leafly strain of the year. And Leafly is something that I've followed religiously in Massachusetts. I love Leafly. So THCA is straight up weed. And what we like to say is that you burn off the A when you light up THCA. Yes. And it basically heats up and it's THC. Yes. And it gets you high. And it's awesome. And it's cheaper.
It's the best option, and you can get an ounce of it for like $40-$50 usually.
You gotta time it right.
You gotta time it right, but maybe even less sometimes, depending on if you go bulk.
Well, that's gotta be Black Friday, I think.
Yeah.
And we've passed. So this cart is Habit Cartel Glue. It's 1 gram, 510 thread. It's supposed to be from their Potency line. It does not exist on their company website, which is kind of disappointing. The flavor was decent. I mean, it tasted like weed. It wasn't enhanced with terpenes or enhanced flavor in any way. You know, it was just the distillate. You could tell it came from the plant, which is not a bad experience. It's typically what you get when you try to spend less money, which is what I was going for, because I passed up a modern herb card, I think, instead of these ones, and I've officially tried those now, and should have just gone with that one. I have a pretty high tolerance Weed has been my medicine for my anxiety. It's been my medicine for my nausea lately because I currently have gut issues I'm trying to figure out. It's helped me with my ADHD, focusing. It's helped me with sleeping and relaxing. I'm very much a tightly wound person. I'm an engineer. I think and I overthink, and I obviously need help with relaxing. So I have a higher tolerance than some. Not all. Vincent has a higher tolerance than me? Question mark. I don't know. I feel like we have the same tolerance because I came from Massachusetts and I was used to smoking that for so long. I do still go back up there and smoke it with my friends, and I do go to Cherokee, and smoke that product. I personally didn't find this one uber potent. It kind of felt like a hybrid feels to me more than an indica felt, because it really just kind of vibed with me a little bit, not like a ton. It didn't really help my nausea a ton. I've been dealing with a lot of nausea lately, though. This one definitely did help me focus, like if I was trying to work on a project. But it did make me a little drowsy, so it's not like my first choice day to day. So this one, it kind of helped me focus, but it was definitely more like an after work or a weekend strain. I definitely feel like this one helped my sleep and my anxiety and helping me relax after work, but I don't think it was something that would keep me very functional if I was trying to stay functional. Now, all these sound okay, Up until this point, I might have given this card a, 6 out of 10, maybe a little higher, I don't know. I didn't really think about it too hard at that point. But then I was going somewhere and I was wearing leggings and I tried to pull it out of my pocket while it was attached to the battery, and I pulled it by the top of the cart and ripped it out of the socket. So the glass was the mouthpiece, right? But it was also the part that was connected to the threading. It was just all one solid piece of glass. And so that just piece of glass just popped right out, getting resin in my fucking leggings and making me one irritated person. Luckily, I had something to put it in for some reason. I can't remember how I got a Ziploc bag, or maybe I just wrapped it in something temporarily. I don't know. I put it in a Ziploc bag and gave up on it. After that, I kind of just figured this one's that's it for this one. I can't test it anymore. Clearly. I know some people will tear them apart and dab them, and I'm not opposed to that, but I think that's like you save those for later and you do that on an emergency, like when you're having a really low budget week. So I threw that in my weed drawer somewhere, so I'll find it later. This kind of explains a lot of why the testing and safety stuff didn't really come up. They had a QR code, but it didn't really work. Just kind of overall didn't have anything on their website, so I couldn't figure out any cart information. So that's just it for that. There's no safety on these. There's nothing I can do. This one gets a 2 out of 10. I didn't hate it initially, and then it broke, and there's no safety. Obviously, I'm not buying this one again, but I rarely buy the same thing twice. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of The Stonery. The best thing to support the podcast would be to tell all your friends, your family, and literally that random person from the side of the road about this podcast. Tell everyone you know, and everyone you don't. Seriously though, if you talk about it, word of mouth is the best way to get the podcast to more people. But also, some things to support the podcast. You could leave a review wherever you listen. You could subscribe wherever you listen, please. Especially if you enjoy listening to me and would like to have me pop up in your feed every week. Follow my Instagram at @the_stonery_pod. Go to the Discord and hang out with me and my friends and your friends now. And check out the link tree for any of the latest and greatest activities that the Stonery might be doing.